We all have been there between areas of not having a good enough computer for gaming and having some sort of a computer, but it doesn't really run what you want. So I have listed up top 10 games that definitely could run on your computer, and I specifically have tested this on a laptop that I mainly use for work and other small things, and the specs will be shown on screen, and every game I have played will have approximate frame rates, settings I have used, and I will say a summary of the games. And before I continue on, if you like these kinds of videos and would like to see me do more of these, then be sure to press like, subscribe, and leave it down in the comments. Maybe there's a specific genre of games you want me to list. So, with that out of the way, let's head into the video. So number 10 on the spot is Cortex Command. It's a 2D, real-time tactical battle strategy turn-based game, which basically is set 100 years in the future, where you battle other enemies, which are AI controlled. It has very realistic and complex physics, and overall dynamic of the game is, well, don't get your main brain destroyed or your whole army collapses, and it's all controlled from there. It's all cybernetic, sci-fi, and futuristic. And the interesting thing is, this is an old abandoned classic. Not a lot of people talk about it, and sadly enough, it has been forgotten. But I still have it on my computer. I every now and then replay it. It even won 2 awards in the Independent Games Festival 2009. It was independently created by Data Realms Game Studio. In number 9, we have Counterstrike Global Offensive. Settings are set on medium, and common FPS is about 40 to 70. It's an online competitive shooter with casual aspects and many game modes like Wingman and Flying Scoutsman and so on and so forth. It is fun to play together with friends, but alone these days it's not so fun, even though the community is still rather active and, well, a lot of players still play it, so yeah. And plus it's free on Steam, so go download it, have fun, possibly rage and break your keyboard, but that's just part of the game. The Binding of Isaac, one of the greatest dungeon crawlers I have played. Also difficulty-wise, it's a very big challenge if you actually want to complete the game. I have spent countless hours playing this, and it never ceases to impress, amaze me, and push forward. The difficult levels that are randomly generated, the game definitely will run on any computer. I have checked with many different computers I've personally owned or had, even as being a smaller kid, and even nowadays, the game is still fun and still is, well, it competes with other games released to this day. In number 7, we have Need for Speed Most Wanted, one of my most favorite racing games I've had and played over the years. It has great cars, very great playability, and, well, it definitely runs very smoothly. Yeah, you have to adjust the settings, but overall, in the end, you have a very nicely playable game with vast selection of cars and vehicles you can drive. You just have to find them on the map. The story is very nice, and all the tuning parts can be found and won in races, and most of the cars also can be unlocked in races, especially the high tier ones. And why is it in number 7? Well, it's not the game I'd pick at the very start as a playable game, let's say, if my computer could only run this. In number 6, we have Banished, a medieval times city builder and civilization builder, you could say that, is a strategy game where you have to, well, make your civilization. You start off with just only a couple people, enough to start a family. You have to manage resources, work, and build housing for them and other necessities in order to survive and evolve further. And as the game progresses, it becomes harder and harder to upkeep happiness, health, food, and other things which are necessary for a colony's survival. I personally enjoy such games, so it's in top 6, but it still doesn't beat some of the further picked games. I definitely suggest grabbing this, especially on sale, and it's definitely worth the hours of playtime it, well, gives. Now, the Stalkers series, especially the first 3 games, in which I'm currently talking about, have always had my interest since I ever noticed it and started playing them. The games have been released throughout 2001 to 2005. I think I remember correctly. Anyhow, I took the trailer because currently I don't have them bought and I could not film any footage, so here's the launch trailer. Anyways, this is one of my most favorite survival FPS games I actually started with, and it still has a nice keen place in my heart as a very, very nice survival shooter game. And it has great replayability, has tons of mods you can change the game with, new weapons, even HD textures, new missions and everything. And it doesn't take much processing or any other resources on your computer, and overall it's just a great game, even with great voice lines and everything. Some of the more infamous have been even implemented in hard-bass tracks nowadays. We have reached number 4 on the list, which is Plague Incorporated, a very nice real-time strategy game that I have failed and completed many times over, and the custom scenarios people can upload and provided by the devs themselves is just wonderful. It runs on nearly any computer, even has mobile versions. It tends to go very cheap on sales and well, offers very great replayability, and overall is just a very, very nice game to play and overall just spend time with. I chose the number 4 spot because this is one of those games I definitely have picked before when choosing a game to play whilst not having the best setup, either my desktop being down for maintenance or waiting for new parts, or just being out of the house and just having my laptop with me. So I definitely recommend this to everyone who hasn't played it yet.
Now we live in a lab.
So Car Mechanic Simulator 18, one of my favorite simulators of all time, if I have to be honest. Here's a gameplay trailer playing for you in the background. I couldn't record any actual footage currently because I don't have it installed on this laptop, but overall there's great replayability, lots of mods. It will run on nearly any computer, has good settings that you can adjust in many ways so it can run much more easily and fluently. Even on this laptop I'm using for most of the games I play whilst away from the desktop, it runs fluently on medium, definitely, and it's very smooth whilst changing locations, and overall just the game is very, very good, and I'd recommend it to everyone. And we have reached number 2 on the list. Of course, it's APX Legends. It's a free-to-play game, online and well, it offers great replayability. I have spent hundreds of hours on the game and probably will spend 100 more, if not even more. You can easily play with friends or solo. You can just overall mess around, have great competitive options, and other than that, or just play for fun, because well, the game itself has a casual background and ranked matches as well. You basically, as any other battle royale game, you jump in, try to collect as much loot as possible, and try to survive and wipe out every single squad until you're left as the only winner squad. And you play duos or trios. Sometimes it's a solo one, but it depends on events. It has seasons passes, of course, as most free-to-play battle royale games, but you can also collect free prizes by just leveling up your battle pass, the free one, and also just overall leveling up in the game. And overall, I simply like the game. I like the many characters you can play, and surely is a nice game to play if you have 30-40 minutes of free time which you want to dedicate for an online game. You don't need much, especially if I can run it on my laptop that I'm using for the tests. Then I think nearly anyone can run this game. Of course, it might not look the best on the settings, depending on your hardware, but it's definitely worth the play, and surely I'd recommend it, and sometimes even have asked friends to like download it and play it if they want to join me. So, definitely worth the number 2 spot on the list. And now we have reached the number 1 on my list. Of course, these all are personal preferences and, well, personal ratings as I mentioned in the video at the very start, but it is Battlefield 4. Why is it Battlefield 4 or not any of the later games? Well, personally, I think this is the best Battlefield game alongside with Battlefield 2 and 3 and Bad Company games. It provides very good story which will keep you entertained and hooked. Personally saying how it was for me, for the whole lasting story. The story lasts 4 to 6 hours, sometimes more. Depends on how you play and how you go about the scenarios. You go in heads on, full on, like killing everybody, or just play sneaky and be like Spec Ops and all that. Of course, online is still active. A lot of players playing. I personally play Conquest and Team Deathmatch the most. And if you play this game, then sometimes we may even meet up in the server. You never know. Maybe you have defeated me or I have defeated you in combat. But overall, I spend a lot of time in this game. I am basically hooked ever since I first played it, and I think it's a marvelous game. Even playing with friends is very simple and straightforward. You just create a squad, play your friends, join through your friends list, and you can easily just keep playing. It often is on sale on Steam, where I also got it. I have switched Steam accounts many times over, and on each Steam account, this game is present. Even on my Origin accounts, this game is present. Because I simply love it. I have been amazed by how this game runs on nearly any computer, honestly, and still keeps the great graphics and smooth gameplay. And the massive large-scale battles of Conquest or the infantry battles, which tend to be very chaotic in Team Deathmatch or any other infantry game mode. This game is just perfect, and I love it personally. As a shooter game, it's my most favorite game out there. It doesn't even stand close to some other games, and this game personally has inspired me to try to make a shooter game myself. So yeah, that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see videos more like this, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.